My name's Christine Steib. We live in Ohio in the United States. My daughter has seizures. She's 18 years old now. She's had seizures since she was an infant. She started having seizures when she was about 5 weeks old. And although I had never seen a seizure before, and what she did was not something completely unusual, I just knew right away that that seemed like a seizure. The first seizure I saw, I just had her on my chest. I was burping her. I just fed her. And I felt her body tense up. And it was just a little twitch of the hand. And then she relaxed, and that was it. Just a couple of seconds. And my thought, that was weird. Like, I've never seen her do that before. I'd never seen a baby do that before. But then that started happening every night about that same time. But each time it got a little more. And so over the course of the next week, as I said, I was the only one that had seen this happen for a week. Each one was getting a little more obvious that there was an issue. And so she had also at the same time been, she would scream very badly for about 23 hours a day and would sleep for about an hour. She started off on phenobarbital. She was 6 weeks old at that point, and she was on that for about 6 months. And during that 6 months, she continued to scream and not sleep, and except for about an hour a day where she would finally settle down and sleep. I had always suspected perhaps she had had migraines or something at that point, because she would put her hands on her head and just pull at her hair and scream until she had started the Keppra. Our oldest son, he is 3 years older than his sister. And so he was, of course, a little, but he was able to identify a seizure right away. But the crying really got to him. He hated seeing his baby sister be unhappy. And at that point, after months of it, we knew there's just nothing that we could do that would make her happy. But he would beg me, "Mommy, do something, she's crying." And I said, there's just nothing I can do. I don't know what to do for her. And I didn't at that point know what was going to make that stop. I honestly thought this could go on forever. I mean, it really seemed like that would be the case, that she would always have that and cry. And I part of me thought, what did I do to our family that now, this is what we'll have to have forever. I mean, she's not happy. And I remember getting emotional one Christmas when she was crying, and everybody was offering suggestions. Oh, she has colic. She gets her days and nights confused, roll her around in a blanket, all of these old wives' tales that people were telling me. And it's like, you aren't understanding, you aren't seeing the problem. And I remember just yelling out, like, if anybody wants to take her home and give her a try and see if they can make her happy, okay, because obviously I can't do it. I just knew that I couldn't make her happy. My husband couldn't make her happy. And nobody took me up on the offer. But after that, the suggestions that were just silly kind of stopped, and they let us do what we needed to do, because at that point, we were the only ones dealing with it, really. She has 2 younger brothers as well. And they always grew up with it. From the time they were little, they were always aware of them. And I remember on one occasion, we took her to a daycare at a gym, and I was working out, and one of the daycare workers came and got me, and they said, "Well, your son, he says Sierra's having a seizure, but I don't know if he knows what he's talking about, because he's 2 years old." But she says, "We thought we should come in and get you just in case." And I said, if he says she's having a seizure, that is what's going on. As the daycare workers had changed over the course of a few months, the fact that Sierra had epilepsy didn't get passed on to new workers. So the ones that happened to be there that night were not aware that she even had a seizure disorder. And we weren't super concerned at that point because most of her seizures happened first thing in the morning at that time. So I never really thought to say anything after months. I mean, they were aware of it when we first started going there. And, it was late in the evening. I thought we'd be okay. But they were absolutely shocked. And he goes, she's having a seizure, because it was normal for them to see that.